The US government is spending an outstanding $6.7 trillion a year, and much of that spending is done on bloated programs, endless regulations, and a mountain of debt that is spiraling out of control. Enter DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, a bold new initiative led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Their mission is to cut the fat, slash wasteful expenditures, and finally bring some accountability to how our tax dollars are spent. But my friends, here's the kicker. What they're about to do to the government might just be a wake-up call you need for your personal finances, because wasteful spending isn't just a government problem, it's also the silent killer of your financial freedom. In this video, we're going to dive deep into why Musk and Ramaswamy believe government efficiency is critical to avoiding national bankruptcy. We're going to talk about some of the most outrageous examples of wasteful government spending, and believe me, there are some doozies.
How do I do it? I'm in debt up to my eyeballs.
And then we're going to apply these lessons to our own personal finances to completely transform our financial future. So let's not waste another second, let's dive in. Hey there, my friends, my name is Ryan D. Lee. I am the host of the Wealth Outside of Wall Street YouTube channel, and my objective is to empower you with your money to achieve financial freedom in 10 years or less so you can live a purpose-driven life. Money is just a tool, and with that in mind, let's see how the tool, our money, is being used at the federal level. America is teetering on the edge of a financial cliff. For over 2 decades, the federal government has been consistently spending more money than it collects, leading to an annual deficit that now totals a staggering $1.8 trillion every year. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, how do they make up the difference? Well, my friends, this is where it gets crazy. They do this by selling bonds, essentially IOUs to investors.
What is this? What is this? Where's all the money?
That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs.
But here's the problem with doing that. Those bonds come with interest payments that are growing faster than we can manage. I mean, come on, consider this. In 2023 alone, the Treasury spent $659 billion just on interest for the national debt. That's more than the entire budget of the Department of Defense. I mean, think about that. 23% of all government income goes towards just paying interest on the national debt, not services, not programs, or infrastructure. And my friends, here's the problem. Much of that debt is held by foreign entities like China.
China.
Now, when you add in rising interest rates, this is the recipe for a disaster. Every time the government refinances its debt, it's doing so at a higher rate, compounding the issue even further. If we don't make drastic changes beginning right now, or preferably 20 years ago, we risk a financial disaster where all federal revenue goes to interest payments, leaving nothing for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, or national defense. So let's listen to what Elon Musk says about this crazy, reckless government spending.
This suffocating, massive federal bureaucracy, and the government spending is like bankrupting the country. Interest payments on the national debt now exceed the Defense Department budget, the Defense Department budget is like $1 trillion a year. Interest payments on the national debt are now higher than the Defense Department budget, and growing like every month. Like basically, we're on a path to bankruptcy. America's on a path to bankruptcy. So we have to cut government spending. Or we're just going to go bankrupt, just like a person would if that overspends.
But here's why this should matter to you. Our personal finances are directly tied to the health of this country. When government spending spirals out of control, it doesn't just affect them over there in Washington, D.C. No, my friends, it affects us. Higher taxes, weaker economic growth, and inflation are just some of the ways that this problem creeps into our daily lives and erodes our dollar and our quality of living. Right now, my friends, the average American works until late April or early May just to pay their taxes. That means effectively you're trading 5 months of your life every single year just to cover your share of the government spending.
Oh, come on!
So in this video, we're going to explore a little bit about where your tax dollars are going and what you're trading your time for. Spoiler alert, you're not going to like the answers, my friend. So if you don't know this yet, you've probably been hiding under a rock. But my friends, President-elect Donald Trump has tasked Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy with leading the DOGE department, the Department of Government Efficiency.
What would you say you do here?
I have to be honest, just from a personal standpoint, this is probably one of the most dynamic and just amazing moves that our president has made. He's bringing 2 outside businessmen in to oversee and audit government spending. This is crazy. So listen, this commission is designed to root out waste, it's designed to slash expenditures, and inject entrepreneurial discipline into the sprawling, just out of control federal bureaucracy. And this is absolutely necessary because I want you to compare the government to an entrepreneur, or or to a business. Imagine a business owner who consistently spends more money than their company earns. Bills would go unpaid, debts would pile up, and interest payments would start to snowball. Before long, the business would inevitably collapse. Employees would lose their jobs and customers would be left stranded. Fiscal discipline isn't just this thing that we talk about for those guys over there. The government is basically the biggest business in the entire world. It's no different than a small business trying to operate fiscally disciplined so they can pay their employees and satisfy their customer demands. The government has income and expenses, but unlike a well-run business, it hasn't balanced its books in over 2 decades. The last time the federal government recorded a budget surplus, meaning it took in more money than it put out, was in 2001. Since then, deficits have ballooned with annual expenditures far exceeding revenues. And my friends, right now the stakes couldn't be higher. The government isn't just any organization. It's responsible for safeguarding our collective freedom. And our freedom, it requires stewardship. And elected officials are tasked with defending and preserving our freedom. Yet stewardship demands accountability, and too many politicians operate so radically disconnected from reality, they make financial decisions without directly feeling their consequences, leaving taxpayers to foot the bill. And I don't know about you, my friends, but I'm kind of tired of it. The gap between accountability and action underscores the urgency of DOGE. So to highlight this, let's just take a quick look at the campaigns that Kamala Harris ran and Donald Trump ran, just to look at fiscal discipline. Kamala Harris's campaign raised over $1 billion. I mean, that just blows my mind. And they did it in under 4 months. Then they turned around and spent not just $1 billion, but they went $20 million in debt, still leading to an election loss. The Kamala campaign spent over $500 million on staffing. That's a crazy amount. Now, Trump's campaign raised about $350 million. It was about $345 to be exact. They ran a much leaner, much more efficient operation, spending only $10 million compared to the $500 million in staffing. Their campaign ended up with a budget surplus. This is a stark contrast. While one campaign was hemorrhaging money despite raising unprecedented sums, the other campaign demonstrated fiscal discipline, spending, and accountability. The same principle of fiscal responsibility is what DOGE seeks to bring to the federal government. So here's the mission of Musk and Ramaswamy, okay? Number one, it's slash wasteful expenditures, identifying programs and projects that failed to deliver value to taxpayers. Remember, this is our money. You're working until April or May to pay for these things. So if it's not serving the public, then my friends, it's gone. There is so much bureaucracy and we've all dealt with it. Whether we're dealing with it at the DMV or we're dealing with it trying to get a business license, there is so much bureaucracy. They're gonna eliminate redundant regulations and agencies and things that slow progress. And then third, revolutionize operations. My friends, this is a dream. This is a breath of fresh air. They're gonna adopt lean data-driven management practices to ensure every tax dollar is optimized. Now, this is a big vision, and if they can pull off even a fraction of it, this will trickle all the way down to you and I, because this isn't a publicity stunt. President Trump has described DOGE as the potential Manhattan Project of our time, highlighting its historic importance. And Musk has pledged full transparency, ensuring that every decision is open to public scrutiny. Now listen, the timeline is kind of ambitious. DOGE aims to deliver actionable reforms by July 4th, 2026 to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America's founding. Now my friends, this isn't just about trimming the fat. I truly believe this is about restoring trust in government, reducing the burden on taxpayers, and ensuring that every dollar serves its intended purpose. I think we can all agree that this is widely needed in the government, especially related to spending. Because when government waste spirals out of control, it's not just money that's squandered, it's freedom itself. So my friends, before we jump over DOGE, I want to just slow down for just a minute and give you just a few wild examples of government waste. Now, my friends, this list goes on and on and on. I'm just going to give you a few of them. Number one, empty federal buildings. Taxpayers are funding electricity, heating, and maintenance for office buildings that are sitting nearly vacant post-pandemic across the United States. In fact, the US government owns more real estate than any corporation, yet more than half of it is sitting vacant. Number two is expired programs. Each year, over $500 billion is spent on programs that Congress no longer authorizes, programs that technically shouldn't even exist. $500 billion. Now, number three is bizarre research projects. There are so many of these, it blows my mind. Last year, there was a $2 million authorization to study the gambling habits of pigeons. Yes, my friends, pigeons. I wonder what they came up with. Now, Musk summed it up perfectly. It's a target-rich environment in every direction. There's mad waste. If wasting taxpayer money meant getting fired, then the situation would immediately improve. Okay, now, my friends, before we start pointing fingers at all the reckless government spending, let's take a moment and reflect. Politics, in many ways, is a mirror. It's a mirror of culture. And for too long, American culture has tolerated financial irresponsibility and mediocrity money at home, which is now reflected in our leadership. We elect leaders who represent us. And the last 20 years tell us something sobering. As a society, we've collectively undervalued fiscal discipline and responsibility. Here's where it hits close to home. Think of your household as a mini government. You have income and you have expenses, and hopefully you have some savings in there. But how much of your spending is truly essential? And how much of it would be waste and even reckless waste? Now, just for fun and for self-reflection, imagine Musk and Ramaswamy auditing your personal finances.
Did you know millions of Americans live with debt they cannot control? That's why I developed this unique new program for managing your debt. It's called Don't Buy Stuff You Cannot Afford.
What would they find? Subscription services you forgot about, impulse buying you regret, expensive habits that don't align with your long-term goals. Maybe they discover you've been trading your hard-earned money for something as absurd as researching the gambling habits of pigeons. I still can't get over that. Now, it might sound ridiculous. Well, that's how absurd government waste looks, and yet it often mirrors the unchecked waste inside of our own lives. So here's the challenge. Ask yourself one powerful question. What do I want my money to do for me? And don't let yourself off the hook with this. Your answer should inspire you to take control and be more vigilant about where your money is going. Because your money represents two things. It represents the time that you've already traded to earn it, but it also represents the tool that you have at your disposal to buy your time back. This, my friends, is the essence of financial freedom. The formula is simple. Make more than you spend and invest the difference wisely. Yet simplicity doesn't mean easy. It requires clarity, discipline, and purpose. So before Musk and Ramaswamy metaphorically tear apart your budget, take the opportunity to do it yourself. Audit your spending, align it with your goals, and make every dollar work for you. After all, efficiency, it's not just a government problem, it's a personal one too. Okay, my friends, so here's 3 ways to apply the principles of DOGE to your own personal financial life. Number 1, cut waste mercilessly. Audit your expenses and look for ways where money is leaking out with little value in return. Treat every dollar like a vote for your future. If it doesn't bring value or joy, eliminate it. Number 2, focus on high impact investments. Musk is going to prioritize projects with the greatest ROI. Rockets, EVs, now government reform. You could do the same thing by directing money toward high impact goals like paying down debt, building savings, and investing in the skills that increase your earning potential. Number 3, my friends, embrace transparency. Just as DOGE promises total transparency in government spending, aim for clarity in your own finances. Use tools to track your income and expenses, set goals, and measure your progress. You cannot hit a target that you do not have. Okay, my friends, there we have it. So DOGE, it's a bold experiment that could fundamentally change how our government operates, but it also is a reminder that efficiency, it starts right here at home. The federal government has been reckless with your money for decades, and while Musk and Ramaswamy are taking on that challenge, the question is, are you willing to take on the same challenge for your own money? If you want to cut the waste, focus on meaningful investments and build a future that you can control. Start today. Efficiency, it's not just a government issue, it's a life skill, so let's make that skill count. Now, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe, because twice a week we're diving deep into topics that help you raise your financial intelligence and build a future you own, one smart decision at a time. My friends, I'll see you on the next video.